I wasn't planning on doing a video, but can you hear in the background? I've got Sky News playing on the laptop here. But let me pause this just in case it fucks up my audio. It's what's the date today? 20th, 21st, and I wasn't going to do a video. It's the 20th today, so just mark this down in history as the day where this week started off as the big pharma brand name war for the right to stick something in your body. That's what's going on right now. And, I took a break from Paradise Lost. I've actually finished book 7, except for the leveling. So that'll be available to the patrons at patreon.com/Will Franken in a few days' time. For those patrons who want to listen in advance. I wasn't going to do a video, but I stopped and I turned on the news. The news, the headline this morning was the UK government has made a deal to purchase 90 million vaccine doses with an alliance of 3 big pharma companies. And this is a wonderful thing, and we're not supposed to be freaking out right now. This is a wonderful thing because there's 60 million people out here, maybe a little bit more, and here comes, they got 90 million, just in case, a few other generations down the road, we might want to keep doing this fucking thing. It's here to stay, this fucking thing, man, which, seems to be like, anyway, so I wasn't going to, so what happened, the reason I pressed record just now is because the first thing that comes up on Sky News, that was the headline today. Now today, right, we kick off Monday on the 20th of July. This is the point they're going to go, vaccines are coming. Vaccines are coming, because later in the day, the headline from the BBC was Oxford clinical trial. So Oxford's doing their own thing, right? They've got AstraZeneca. So it's kind of a brand name war is happening right now for our bodies and our minds. I fucking know it. I know it as clear as the back of my hand. I have known you so long. You've been a good friend to me. Back of my no, don't you? It's not one of those George Formby type references. With me little stick of Blackpool Rock, along the promenade I go. One day we will all go to Blackpool again, and we will walk on that beach, and we will hug each other, and we will not be wearing masks, and we'll say, what in the fuck happened? How did they got so close, these fucking psychotics. So I turned on the news, and the first thing out of Matt Ham, so that's why Oxford, at the end of the day, good news, more good news from the BBC. So we start today, the UK government has got together with 3 big pharma people we don't care if it's ready or not, as soon as you get them, we're fucking buying them. 90 million doses from Pfizer and BioNTech and one of those other jerk-off space cadet names. BioNTech. We're the people that buy it. You fuckers are dumb. You're stupid. You cannot subtract the heart and leave just the head and not be dumb. That's what happens. Cyborgs are stupid. You know that. You can unplug them or, just don't let them get to Terminator level. But anyway, sorry. So, turned on the news. So Oxford, good news at the end of the day. Meanwhile, they've done, as the UK government's done that, those smart people up in Oxford who recently told us, by the way, from Oxford University, that planting trees may not be good for the environment after all. Oxford. Smart from Oxford, just like Imperial College London. Pure as the driven snow. Neil Ferguson, pure as the driven snow. Oh, sure, he had his mistress come down, his mistress with that open plan marriage, open plan living, open plan dying. That's what we've got right now. There. Anyway, what are we allowed to say? I don't know what we're allowed to say. I hope it's a bit humorous. We should all revisit Network, because that guy was a hero. That character Peter Finch plays was a hero of mine from the very first time I saw that film. I was like, where else can you go but the truth? But then he got everybody down, because by the end he was like, there is no escape. Once he said who owned the network, remember that in the film? Once they loved him until then once you start saying who owns the network, who's running the fucking show, yeah, it doesn't matter what did Robert Duvall say? We got a big titted hit on our hands. And it doesn't matter how big a hit it is. Once you start saying who owns you motherfuckers, then there we go. So the good news at the end of the day, you could predict it. You could predict it because they dripped that in as well. So the government had done its 90 million doses deal with 3 big pharma companies who love you. They love you and your family. They're deeply concerned about your freedoms and your loves and your lives and your just everything. Well, they are. They want your fucking data. They're data gobblers. Yeah, they care about it, but not in like anything like a benevolent way. So that's how the day started. And then they dropped in another little story this morning when I was having my coffee. Meanwhile, over at Oxford University, what are the smart people? What are the smart people? Like Boris Johnson, his old alumni. What are they doing up there at Oxford? Well, they've got their AstraZeneca deal, which I think they're test driving on Africans right now. Save us, please. I know you don't owe us anything. I know Africa owes us nothing at all. But save us. Save us. Show us how it's done. Show us how it's done. Yes, so they're going down there. And they mixed into the UK government 90 million doses for 3 vaccines. One of those being Pfizer, the good ethical people of Pfizer. Oxford with AstraZeneca is testing out their vaccine, and there should be a result later in the day. This is how the begin. So the news is telling us, get ready. Today is the day of vaccine news. We think we've got most of you with the mask thing now. And I was heartened today. I found this group while I was having my lunch. There's something called Keep Britain Free. I don't know them at all, but I saw that they did hold an anti-mask protest in Hyde Park. I wasn't aware they existed. It's like, but I watched some clips and it gave me some heart. Like, I'm not going to do this alone. I'm not going to be the only guy going down there and not wearing a fucking mask because I feel we've been taken over. There's no good I see so many reasons for us to wear the mask right now that have nothing to do with health. Is it covering Boris Johnson's ass in case there's an inquiry? And this is like a last minute kind of like, it was late, but I made them wear a mask. Is it that? Or is it we're all part of it can't be because it's going on in America, right? So are we all marching to the lockstep movements of somebody who we're just supposed to take it on in the way that we used to take it on faith that there was a God, that we would get down on our knees and we would pray up to something, whether it existed or not. We're supposed to have that kind of faith and give it to international bodies who have done nothing consistently right in this whole fucking thing since it began. And you're keeping our churches shut or giving us no singing, but you can do 5 out of 9 means of worship. So here comes at the end of the day, the next little bit of news cycle. Here it comes. Oxford vaccine trials show positive immune response. And you look at that, I knew that was going to happen. Is it a conspiracy? I don't know. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy. All I'm saying is, do you think things are on the fucking level with this or not? That's all I'm asking, because I am still free. And there's a lot. I took them at face value. I do that with people and institutions, I have to say as well. At face, like a lot of people. This is a pandemic. This was unprecedented. No one, we haven't experienced this. So we took them at face value and we locked down, and it was cute for some of us. And, for some of us, immediately we went into this sort of like, now's the time to get to some deeper reality, right? What do we value? If this is a pandemic, that we think about loved ones and faith and, what does the future hold? How can we hold on, thinking about the life beyond. Some of us might be thinking about the life beyond. Right? And care for our loved ones and all of these things. And on top of that, they kept telling us, don't do these things. It may sound weird, but you can't hug your relatives. You have to stay apart. All this stuff. And we took them at face value. And I keep banging on about this. Neil Ferguson and Dominic Cummings, the architects and dispensers of these rules, proved with their actions that they did not believe this. And we're going to do this again. My God, we're not. Because, again, we are worth more than this. So there it was at the end of the day. triggers a positive immune response. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where you have to have your papers in order before you're allowed to exist in the world. What is your problem with it? Why are you being a coward? You don't like that, do you, Mr. Franken? You don't like to be thought of as a coward. You're the brave man, the man who always puts his, shall we say, neck out on the proverbial, shall we say, limb? Yes? But are you not a coward after all? It's only a little piece of cloth. You must be scared of bunny rabbits too, Mr. Frank. I'm not scared. Put it on you. Right? What do you do if you know it's bullshit and your stomach churns? I have had a stomach ache. That's the thing. People don't understand. When people leave comments and they say, you're such a wuss, you know that most people don't want to be in conflict with the law. It's not an easy way to live. And luckily for those of us in the West, for a long time in the West, we've not had shit like this. We've not had a situation like this where to smart people, I think, who are kind of, I would say healthy skepticism. There is something about healthy skepticism where I find it so much easier to believe in God than that the WHO is not rife with corruption and misinformation themselves. And these misinformation merchants are the ones saying we need to stop the misinformation. We are in fucking trouble here unless we get our fucking act together and say enough. Enough. I'm not hearing people coughing in the streets. I'm not hearing sneezing or any of this shit. We have got to get on with fucking life, or these people, whoever these are, I don't know. I mean, a conspiracy theorist would say, I definitively know that's the way I see it. I'm not coming, you'll forgive me because honestly, I'm getting a lot of conspiracy theorist people saying hello right now to me. I don't know what the story is. I have suspicions. But I haven't settled on one definite thing because we're not getting any truth. All I know is that whatever we're being shown on a daily basis, vaccines, is like, raise your hand in this country. Who wants a vaccine? Who has wanted a vaccine from the moment that this thing began? Right? Even though I was nervous in the first week and a half of this thing, even though I was nervous and I was concerned about my loved ones and all that, there was myself and my girlfriend, there was kind of this assumption that we're never going to take the vaccine. Not that we're anti-vaxxers, just that there seems to be this real urgent talk of we have to have a vaccine right now or we can't get back to normal. We will never be able to sing in a church again unless we get a vaccine. So according to Boris, even though today the media today and the scientists, they were on the same side, and they were saying, I think we're going to have a vaccine. We are definitely going to have a vaccine. It's very promising. Vaccine. It's coming your way, brought to you by the media and Pfizer and AstraZeneca. It's coming your way. The great big brand name war for who gets to inject your children with a foreign substance, with manipulated DNA or whatever creepy shit they are doing. When all these questions remain unanswered about China, they're making a show of China now, a little bit fucking late in the game and a little bit, kind of not quite as possibly direct as it needs to be. Probably too fucking late, isn't it? What is this all about? All these unanswered questions, man, as you guys know. I don't know what the situation is. I did want to pitch a theory. Again, since we're not getting any truth, but maybe I'll do that at the end because I've got to cook my dinner soon. I don't usually do a night video. But I tell you what, as soon as I turned on the news, after all that vaccine shit today, as soon as I turned on the news just now, the first person that pops up is Matt Hancock, Health Secretary out here in the UK. And the first thing that pops up is him saying, I'm paraphrasing, and I can't do his accent. You see, some people fill me with such revulsion, I can't even watch them long enough to imitate them. She should watch her tone. I'm the great Matt Hancock. You should watch your tone when you're speaking to the health secretary of the greatest pandemic known to mankind. I'm the dashing Matt Hancock. You bullshit artist. Like that doctor who tried to sell me before I realized I could have radiation seeds implanted in me, which, there was a doctor out here that, like, he likes to chop out old men's prostates at the first diagnosis because they just got a 1 million pound machine out there and they want to use it. And right off the bat, he's going to, Mr. Franken, yeah, we're gonna rush it through. This was like a couple of years ago. And luckily, I found like an ethical doctor who said, no, you don't have to do that. They got these radiation seeds. I said, that sounds a lot better than fucking cutting the goddamn thing out. Why did I bring that up? Look, I'm not saying anything, like anti. I hope like ethical doctors are out there. We're just not. I don't know. They have spoken. A lot of them have spoken. Whether that's Vernon Coleman or some of these guys from America that have been saying stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, Matt Hancock. I went on to some. Yes, it's that Matt Hancock. This guy was dashing. He was one of those soap opera doctors, and I'm not. I was saying, like, if I had to characterize him as a character, that's what they are. This guy came in. He goes, "Your prostate needs to come out," and it was this. And he got on one of those things like in the 80s where there's like like, Cindy, I've got a 46-year-old man here, going to have his prostate out. We got this great new machine, and everything was. And I'm just sitting there with fear in me, going like, my life is over. If all the side effects are true, that was the option I did not want. And that's what I felt Matt Hancock was doing when he's speaking in the House of Commons today. The first thing that comes up, Matt Hancock says, let's see if I can remember I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Well, the great thing about vaccines also, right? So every time I hear that, the great thing, they're wonderful. What else vaccines, I've never been into them, man. I like the Beatles. I like Small Faces, Beethoven. No, the great thing about vaccines, what is this language? So wonderful. What's your favorite vaccine? I love smallpox. I do. It's like playing nostalgia. Yeah. Right. So he says, another great thing about vaccines is that it's increased, all research into vaccines has increased the global workforce in that field, or something to that. In other words, and I just looked at the TV or the laptop here and I said, it's you're psychotic. This is psychotic talk. We're helping the economy by getting people to make something that you really haven't asked them. It hasn't been put to a vote or anything. Who wants this? I think that, and this is why I made the mistake. Who knows? We'll see on the 24th of July if they're going to let Boris Johnson get away with this. Right? Yes, we're okay with the mask. Okay, good. Phase 2. Right? Unless I'm mad. I don't know. Unless I'm mad. The great thing about vaccines, another good thing about vaccines is that it's increased it's helped in the global work. What is a global? Who cares about global? Global workforce. A lot of it, you're supposed to be global. They throw the word, we know how that works. You throw the word global around and it's like, well, global. I never liked the word global. There's a lot of people in this globe I wouldn't want to consider myself, like Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, right? Remember him? I wouldn't want to be like, hey, globe, Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Globe, where's he from? Wisconsin? Yeah, I'm from Missouri. You're from Wisconsin. We're all part of the same globe. Jeffrey Dahmer. It's like, no, you're not of this earth, man. You're a cannibal. Globe. But they throw that. That's the word. That's one of the many words they use. Global. The global workforce. So we're looking for this thing. We have to get this thing before we can get back to normal. But in the meantime, we're creating jobs for people to look for something that I don't think the majority of the people actually in the world are clamoring for. Just a hunch. Could be right. I don't know. Just a hunch. So I thought maybe press record and see what comes out. So I saw this group, Keep Britain Free, had a protest in Hyde Park this weekend. And I went to their website. I tried to go to their website. Let me get my coffee. Hold on. See, I'm 9-hour shifts on the Paradise Lost project, which book 7 again is nearly completed. And I don't know if this plays into it or not. I'm spending all day on 17th century poetry, and then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, what's happening in the world? And it's like every fucking day. If you get it in little drips like I do, like just the headlines, like what is the day about today? It's about the government is getting together with 3 of the sickest corporations known to man. You know, the big pharma. Do you understand what that is? These are people that have made normal behavior abnormal. Do you understand? They're part of this whole thing. The new normal. They have made normal behavior abnormal. Mrs. Johnson, your child has, I'm afraid, a condition known in the medical community as ADHD, as defined by Dr. Oprah Winfrey. Now, there are some parents who may say that this is what the ancients called normal child behavior. Those parents are killing their children. Right? Here's a pill. Here's this thing that cannot love you. It can't. I know it's. I'm gonna get. Let me get surreal. I'm a satirist, but I'm also a surrealist, right? I love Peter Cook. You know, a pill can't love you, and it also can't develop wings and fly like a. It's not a beautiful thing. A pill. We try not to take pills. That's the goal. The goal in life is not to take pills if you can avoid it. You know, if you get sick, it's like, when you get sick, it's always, fuck, I got to get an aspirin. That sucks. Who wants a goddamn aspirin? You know, you got to spend money on an aspirin. You know, it's something you don't want to do it. But you guys, you fucking big pharma, pigs, Pfizer. Claire Fox takes money from them because, according to her, there is no dirty money. Ha ha. Battle of ideas, free debate, anything goes, man. No fucking hard idiot herself. Big Pharma, you have sold the lie. I guess ever since Prozac, maybe before, you have sold the lie that people should crave pills when it comes to their fucking emotions. And we're going to let you fuckers get involved with our bodies now like fucking hell we are. So, this thing called Keep Britain Free. I saw this, I was eating my lunch and I want to watch these things. Like, is there anything happening? Is anybody, am I the only one that's, I know in the comment thread, and again, like, I thought I was going to have book 7 done. I'm going to, especially for the patrons, if the patrons are watching right now on this channel, just to let you know that you got your Sunday gift last night, and you'll get Paradise Lost Book 7 in a couple days' time, the completed album, which is very timely because it ends with singing, you know, and Raphael says, thus was Sabbath kept. They sang in heaven. Now, whether you believe or not, this is an ancient thing. For those of us who aren't so, I'm ready for the modern world. I'm ready for the modern world. Do what you can. Put it inside me. I don't care where it came from. We're in the modern world. We're in the modern world. And we trust those things that tell us what to trust. Basically, isn't it? We trust those things that tell us to trust them. And yet, for those of us who know better, they're doing a con job on you, right? They've got us all sound. They want to make us all sound like Charlie Manson. I'm convinced, right? Like me in the bank the other day, going, I think we're being lied to, you know. I think we're being lied to. Big Pharma loves you. It's loved you forever. It loved you. Trust us. Trust us. There is a way to be happy. Trust me. I'm in the mental health industry. The way to be happy, I hope it's coming across in my voice and my mannerisms. I know how to be happy, man, but you would call me insane. Right, you would say I feel things a bit too much. You know, I'm supposed to just see all this fucking nonsense on the headline. You know, like the other day, the BBC, as if they weren't divisive enough, they have an article. They had an article a couple of days ago saying why women wear face masks more than men. You know, Oh, you're there on the, are you there on the job now? Are you gonna, and this is a political issue. The mask is a political issue because of who? I thought it was you that was making it a political issue. I must have been reading that wrong. Maybe I had my fucking eyes in backwards. You guys are the scientists after all. Bill Gates' money keep us afloat. A little bit of Bill Gates over here, some from the pensioners over there, and we'll keep this fucking propaganda machine afloat. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, they got us all sounding like Charlie Manson. You're disturbing society. Yeah, but society, look, man, let's say my only reason for doing this was to keep things interesting, which it's not. But let's say that alone, like, can we at least fucking laugh at your lies? This fucking double talk, this, like, who wants the vaccine? There may be some. I don't doubt it. I'm sure there's probably somebody that, I got up out of bed and I looked out the window and I knew I got a germ. I know there's people like that, but I would think that the majority of people probably don't, and they're afraid to say it because you don't know. You've got us all so confused now. You don't know who's walking around going, what the fuck are people in masks for? You don't know who's wearing the mask. I'm a good person. I've got the mask on. I've got the mask on. I've got the mask on. Look at me doing what the government said. I got the mask on today. Amen. We're here at the church and believe whatever the fuck they say. This is a brand new church, part of the new normal church ministry scheme. And if you give us our money today, that's what it is. It's the con. It's a con. Put their fucking language in the mouth of used car salesmen. Come down to my lot. I'm Bill Greenberg, and here at Bill Greenberg, unlike other car dealerships, we care more about Black Lives Matter than any other leading car dealer. Plus, we'll give you 50% off the newest vaccine when it's invented. We've already spent all this money. The economy's fucked up, isn't it? Why don't you spend a bunch of money on a fucking vaccine with 3 of the greediest pig corporation entities you can think of? Come on, man. Come on. So, again, I've been all over the map today. Sorry. I am going to put this up. I wasn't going to do a video. That's what happens when I leave the 17th century, because I can't work right now, right? I'm one of those fields that was not essential, and I get it. There was a lot of bad comedy. That's one of the good things to come out of this. There was a lot of shit comedy that was made possible by big tech. Hey, we got like an online Zoom gig on Friday. Yeah. But do you see what happened? You took away I'm perfectly fine talking with myself. I'm used to being blacklisted by comedians and bookers. I get it, man. I'm cool with fucking riffing for whoever wants to see here. I don't need it. I like an immediate audience. I actually got offered a gig today. And if you're watching, I don't want to reveal your name, but I did get your email, and I'll respond very soon. But I like the idea. My only concern is I'm not wearing a mask, and if I have to travel anywhere, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I just refuse to do that. This is a... I want to. I really want to. I was craving that today, and I'm heartened from your email. But I'll respond in kind. But I would like to do a gig, I think. But I don't want to go through all the. That's the thing. I don't want to acknowledge. I find this such an insult. Every fucking remedy for this virus is an anti-human move. Everything. Every dimension of the whole narrative of this fucking thing has been anti-human. The remedy is anti-human. The solution will be anti-human. The final solution, right? Do you remember there's a Bill Gates interview with Stephen Colbert, the great cutting-edge satirist? He did one good thing, and that was Strangers with Candy. If you remember that show, that was a very funny, goofy, anti-PC show. Very funny. But then he got a lot of money. He became Late Night with Stephen Colbert. So, Bill, what's the next step on the vaccine? Right off the bat, within what, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of lockdown? There was Bill Gates, and that's when I started to ask questions. I just thought, okay, I knew he was into health and vaccine. He talked about vaccines. I knew he was a software kind of thief. I saw some documentaries about how I don't know anything, software thievery. He's one of those pirates. I'm a pirate. Stuck in the system, pirate. Like for geek stuff, like there was no, like, he didn't write Ivanhoe, right? He did. What was his great novel? right? I'm supposed to be impressed. There was absolutely no interest. And here comes the vaccine lockdown. So, Bill, what's the next? Well, I tell you, it was fucking music hall. Scripted fucking music hall. And I'm like, wait a second. What does all this have to do with him? And then you watch something like James Corbett's Bill Gates' documentary, and you start to say, aha, what kind of weirdo would be obsessed with the world's population? Probably a fucking billionaire on his way to become a trillionaire, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Probably a fucking billionaire on his way to become a trillionaire. I can't, because I will never have that wealth, but you do. You try to pretend, like, I wonder, like, try to get in their head. You possibly might find people an inconvenience, I would think. You probably got a lot of space to yourself. It's funny because of lockdown, I don't know if I mentioned this in the videos before. Who lives a lockdown lifestyle anyway? Billionaires. They live in compounds. They can dispense with people. Come, go, enough. Yes, no, I'm weak, I must sit. Except for their friends, and then what they do is they film their friends going, "This is my very good friend. He's India's security expert. Yeah, we said, oh, is he good? How is he your good friend? Do you sit around and smoke a joint together? You just said good friend. What does it mean to be a good friend of Bill Gates? Do you throw pancake dough at each other and play in the kitchen? What do you mean, good friend? And maybe I'm being cynical, but show me what does that mean? Because you guys are just sitting there. So one of the things I find fascinating is you're working with India's security system for a more biometric identification system that combines health records with your. Is that why he's good? You're a good friend. Does he just? What do you mean? Did you go? Do you sled together in the winter? Oh, why? Why in the fuck are we listening to anything you say, you fucking nut? Some guy told me today I was losing my mind. I don't think I am. You know what? Fuck it. If I am, I'm proud to be honest. Everybody I admire, like in a really deep way throughout history, has been somebody. Well, they thought he was a cuckoo at the time, but it turned out 50 years later he was actually really good at what he did. Right? William Blake, anybody? These are people I look up to. I don't try to be them. I just have that thing. I just don't like bullshit. And, you can mock it, like climate change. You can mock it, and you could lose work over that for years. Or then you could have the other end of the spectrum. You could have assholes like Comedy Unleashed take it and, politicize fucking everything and say wokey snowflake and get everything reduced to a fucking Twitter bite. But that was a slow, steady drip. And I always mark it from 14 years ago, because that was 2006. Al Gore came out with Inconvenient Truth. Probably went on longer than that, but that was it. 14 years is the equivalent of how many entire four-year high school terms in America, how many university degrees. That's quite a long time to brainwash systematically students, workplaces, what had governments, well, you better get on board. It's coming. This climate change thing is coming. It is coming down the pike. I tell you, folks, it is coming. And I'll tell you what, it won't look like anything like what we thought it was going to look like. Well, we thought it was going to look like global warming, but we've done the scientific data research, and I'm afraid to say it's now going to look like climate change. It's coming, folks. It's coming. So they've been doing subtle things to kind of fuck with our heads on that topic for years. Just, and then you find like, am I really the only comedian that thinks this is stupid? Like, not real? Or at least the first to say it until the fucking, whatever. I'm not bitter, but it's, I am bitter. And now but now what's happened is they've decided that 2020 pandemic, and they're moving at such a speed. And for people like me who like to take my time with something as long as Paradise Lost and give it the treatment and the audio treatment I feel that it deserves, I'm committed to long. I don't need to rush and get the next phone or the next app or the next gadget. I can take my time with an old piece of literature or a long work of classic music. I can take my time with that stuff. I forgot why I brought that up. That would have been a good point, I think, whatever that was. Was it a commentary about speed? the speed of our society now? I don't know. But I must finish this thing about Keep Britain First. Oh, God, no, not Britain First. I did not mean that. It's called Keep Britain Free. You see why I fucked up. As you came out here, it was all people were saying Britain First, Britain First. And, you don't know, right? All I knew was that I didn't like political correctness. I never did anything with those guys, but it's weird. Like when you grow up in Missouri, I had the racist of my youth, and we mocked them. We knew, and I am gonna take a diversion here into comedy for a bit. We knew as kids, we wanted to be anti what was presented as normal to us. So, every now and then we'd see, and sometimes we went over the top. Sometimes we'd make fun of church people, just for being church. Oh, we're down to the Bible thing. We would do that as 14-year-olds, smoking pot, drinking beer for the first time. And then you make fun of people who were properly redneck and racist, or you confront them, and we go through all that. And then what happens in my case is I went out to the city and I heard nothing but, just these kind of stories, like blanket stories about where I came from. And it was like, no, we had that, but there was kind of a balance as well. It wasn't all, you don't have that right either, until you get to the point where you're an adult and you think that you've left all of that behind, right? You kind of start to believe that they don't really exist anymore. And then you find yourself involved with people like Comedy Unleashed. And you say, why would you book a man who believes that embryonic selection can improve intelligence in lower class communities? And so you don't expect this new breed of creep called the big tech creep, the eugenicist creep. It's a new type. They come from Oxford. They come from Cambridge. They come from Oxford. Not all of them, but they wear suits and they write articles, and this is why this thing is so much bigger than lefty wokey snowflake and whatever the opposite side is called. This thing is so much bigger than that. That's why I was really fucked up with the George Floyd thing. I think we were beginning to feel a unity amongst ordinary people all over the world. We were starting to ask questions. We might not have, well, actually, there were tons of lockdown protests. We didn't know that out here because we weren't shown that. That would have called into question some things, right? For example, that there were people concerned about things like their livelihoods and properly justified fears. If you look into something and you see Bill Gates flew on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane, hung out with him in Paris. Why would we allow him to fund our medical coverage out here in an ostensibly public-owned broadcasting system? Why would we allow that? Why is this man telling birth spacing? It's a weird kind of academic racism, which is also anti-human, which is eugenicist, anti-human, nihilistic, right? This is the new normal. No, it's not. Not if we have any of us with any color or life within us, any kind of passion. It's not over until it's over. But they're making it hard for us because if it is true, they've not come out and said we've been conquered. We ran out of money. That's a possibility. They could be like, we ran out of money and we haven't actually owned this country for some time. So technically, you're not really who you think you are, So if we could just, put on the mask and, just do that for a little bit. And we've got the golf courses are open, Here I go again. Keep Britain free. So that's what happened. I came out to this country, surreal, weird, anti-PC, right? And then what happens, I went through this whole thing where you don't really care about these bigger issues. Like who is controlling this? It's controller and controlled. And whatever I said before, I got to tell you this, any issues that I dealt with before are insignificant compared to what we're going through now. Because this is not a drill. I keep saying this is not a drill. There's no, I can't see any health. I hear from people who say, like, they have difficulty breathing at work because they have to wear the mask. I cannot see any. We might as well be asked to walk around and spank ourselves because it stops the coronavirus. Spank yourself, punish yourself. All of those issues that I dealt with before, all of the, I'll always be anti-PC, but we are in something together. I think those of us who have serious questions about this, what fucking happened, why these things don't make sense, and they need to be answered now instead of as an immune response to the Oxford vaccine. It's like, okay, have you had your song and dance about the vaccines? Did you eat the cake? Did you toast it? Of course, socially distanced. Did you do the socially distanced clink of the champagne glasses? Got your drooly little vaccine news out of the way? How about some fucking news? Keep Britain free. They had these clips of these people that protested in Hyde Park against the mask thing that's coming up on Friday. Because I'm down here. I've had a stomach ache ever since that stupid announcement was made because I know that I can't obey that law. There's no fucking way I can obey that law. Even if that's for traveling, I cannot obey that law. That is, how fucking dare you? We watched Dominic Cummings tell us he doesn't fucking believe in this after people died. How fucking dare you? Why? So we can err on the side that for fucking once the WHO is right about something? Is that what we're doing this for? Because a broken clock is right 1/57th of the day? You nonsense 2 + 2 = 5 motherfuckers. This is not a drill. This is a potential fucking Orwellian nightmare waiting to happen. Let's see all those people. That's what somebody's like. You think you're so tough? Yes. Well, I don't think I'm so tough. I tell you what, I can't obey that law. And that's why I've got the stomach ache, because that's what bravery is. Bravery is you do something or don't do something in this case, even if you're afraid. Whether that's doing comedy a different way than not everybody else is doing comedy, or saying, yes, I voted for Trump. I don't know if I'm going to vote for him this year. Unless Trump comes out and says, I did a deal with the Wi-Fi companies where, I accidentally treated them like a small mom and pop diner. I got a little confused. I've done some research. They're a greedy fucking pig monopoly that is going to suck the life and soul out of every fucking living human being if it meant lining their fucking pockets. I'm sorry, that was not the right message to give out at this day and age. I've since gone back to a mom and pop diner. I know what they are now. Or in this country, thank you for fucking building the luxury homes. There's a calf that still can't open. There are 3 women there approaching pension age, motherfucker. No, because we're letting people that have never lived our lives. You understand that? They've lived in fucking compounds. And this is not a hatred of the rich. John Lennon was rich. And I never begrudged him that. Because he fucking well earned it. But Bill Gates got there out of fucking thievery, and we're going to fucking listen to that motherfucker's advice, or the WHO who covered up for fucking China, or this motherfucker out here, or wherever you are in the fucking world. The Serbians have shown us how it is done. They're going to pull this one down. Why wouldn't they pull this one down? And what am I saying? I guess they could say I'm spreading. But I'm not. I'm not saying this definitively causes this. I say there are plenty of fucking questions that are not answered. They're not fucking asked. And those of us who do ask are like, okay, what's the problem? It's called a mask. Hello, Halloween, when you were a child, anyone? So I saw this people speaking in front of crowds. And it gave me a little bit of heart. Because here's the thing, I can't obey that law. I cannot obey that law. But the thing is, I have the stomach ache because I don't want to be in conflict with the law. And for most of my life, living as a free Westerner, I've not had to break the law because by and large, or at least growing up in where I did, by and large, the laws that were there were good. You know, they were, don't kill, don't steal, don't, like they were basic. We're going to hold society together, not as a police state, but there's some fundamental fucking laws here. Right? We are living through a time of 5G speed law. How about indemnifying vaccine developers in case there's any actual health effects that come out of vaccines? How about that? Law. And the mask. Here come the mask. So these people were talking, and I don't know if it was the founder. I don't know how long this thing's been around. Keep Britain Free. But obviously, I wanted to go to their website and find out how to, at least keep an email correspondence. So if anybody knows, I clicked on I went to Google, I looked up Keep Britain Free, and I clicked on it, and my antiviral software said, whoa, are you sure you want to go there? This could be a risky site. And the thing is, I think if anybody's, I am so paranoid about technology right now. My girlfriend told me that I didn't know this until she told me this, because I don't pay attention to tech gadget weird news. I just okay, laptop, phone, and can I record sound? I don't think about what are the latest gadgets. They listen to you? I didn't know this. This is how boring I found tech people. So it was bad enough they were boring. Now they're boring and in control of the fucking world. And we have a chance to save the world. So I keep saying we because I want to, I don't know. Why do I say we? Because it all boils down to me at the end of the day. But I hope there's enough me's left in this world. Enough people who are thinking, I am an individual, and this may cause me a lot of discomfort in saying this, but I would be, remiss, for example, if I kind of just let this, I'm not saying go out there and rah, but just at least ask questions. Or don't be afraid. It's hard not to be afraid. I mean, I am afraid because I've spent the majority of my life not being in conflict with the law. And yet I know I cannot do it. I cannot fucking do it. That's what bravery is. It's not saying, well, you're a little wuss, it's only a piece of fabric. Yeah, I know, that would be if I could be you, that would be so easy, man. At least I was polite. At least I was polite. Oh. At least I was polite. At the end of the day, did you take part in the lie? At least I was polite. At least I was polite. So it said you couldn't go there. And it said the reason was it looked like spam. So I didn't know if that was an intention. Have they been censored? Have they been, I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. They look like a motley group of people, right? They didn't look like an EDL rally. It wasn't a bunch of shaved head guys, yeah, England first, mate, England. And all white kids, send it back, mate, send it back, England all the way, England, oh, England. Just about freedom first, they're going to come for that, and then the fucking Muslims are going to come, right, and then the package, yeah. It wasn't that. And it also wasn't this. It also wasn't, for too long, systemic racism has been a problem. By the way, systemic racism, that's what this virus could be. This could be a systemic virus. It will be with us forever. Systemic racism, basically what that means is that it's built into the subatomic structure of the universe. That means that Al Sharpton will always have a job. That's what that means. Al Sharpton and all those people who are obsessed with skin color, they'll always have a job. The racist, divisive people, the people who are invested, whether racist or anti-racist, they're invested in this fucking dialogue that has nothing to do with the human condition and the human soul. They're invested in that. Yeah. So the BBC and the news, they were sure to give them that story to keep that lot entertained, while the rest of us were going, what the fuck does an app have to do with health? The rest of us were starting to do this, and everybody, Trigger, Snowflake, if we look at this, I don't think they should tear down the statues, of course not. But that's a made-up story that they got us to, I'm convinced That was just, we don't know what the motive was, right? But the world blew up at a really weird time too, and it also proved, I mean, imagine how over a barrel politicians must be right now. Is the virus real? Because there were a lot of people not social distancing. The virus is real, yeah. Maybe what I'll turn over to our chief scientific officer, Betty Habelson. This is a novel coronavirus. We've never seen anything like it, the likes of our life or in history forever, and it's interesting as a scientist to study a new virus. So it's constantly kind of changing purpose, I suppose. I suppose you could say that the virus itself, though bad in a physical sense, as it could kill you, it's good in the sense that it too is opposed to racism. So I guess you could say that the virus was out there marching with the Black Lives Matter protesters and letting them, right? So how are you going to justify it? Nobody's socially distanced. So is it possible that if there was, because the WHO said that racism is a pandemic as well, they were on board with that as well. They wanted the little riots to happen as well. Those good people at the WHO. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many fucking. But on that note, that's what it didn't look like. From what I saw of those clips, there's only 5-minute long clips of the Keep Britain Free. But to me, it looked like, if I may, because I do characters, right? I look like, you have to do a little superficial, like somebody's walking funny, you try to walk like that, or you pick up you sort of pick up on the voices or something like that, right? That's it. I'm a character, man. I do characters, I do sketches, I do surrealism, I do satire. I wish somebody would have told me what they really wanted was, how many hits and views do you have? Oh, we're entering this world now. Yes, we're entering this world now. This is the new normal. How many hits and views? Sorry, mom's making me go to church again. I gotta go to church. Where's your church? Right here. Click. Here I am talking on YouTube, so, am I part of the problem? I hope not. Well, I mean, Howard Beale and Network, he stayed on the network, and he kept trying to say, I've got the network here. They'll sell you any old bullshit you want, How could he not be a hero? How could that guy not be a hero? I love what he says. I've achieved this state of what the Hindus call, and I'm sorry if any Hindus are watching, I forget the state that he achieved, but I love it. He's in a fucking newsroom with a bunch of corporate lackeys, and he's walking around talking about Hinduism and cosmic truth. Who could not look at that and say, we need more Howard Beales in our world today than fucking ever before? Maybe I'm a Howard Beale, I don't know. Yeah, he's not, because I can never be a James Corbett. That's what I love watching people do things that I couldn't do. I couldn't, he's got everything collated and referenced and this, and I'm like, I want to have a violent explosion of the subconscious. That's my thing, like, blah, You take all this nonsense and spit it out in forms of characters or whatever. But if I had to sum up watching the people and hearing the people, and no offense if you're watching, because I don't mean this in an offensive way, but they looked a little bit like what I would have called hipsters in Shoreditch, or kind of maybe, I'd say maybe vegan-y people, if I may say so. Some, not all, some look like people who were just, I don't know, working class people, middle class. It looked like a motley group of people. There was even a Muslim woman there with the hijab and not the mask. And I would say maybe, I don't know, was it maybe 100? Maybe, but it gave me a little bit of heart. I tell you what, it looked like more than there were few. Hold on, that's my girlfriend. There, right back. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go, but I'll get my dinner on too. But I hope this was okay. That's the thing. These things come out. I mentioned in a video to the patrons that sometimes thought and emotion for me are one and the same. That's why I'll look off at these characters and. But I wanted to say this about what I've seen, what little I've seen of Keep Britain Free. It was a bigger protest than the ones they had that were anti-lockdown. And to me, that makes sense. And that I don't want to use the word trend, but that seemed to be something heartening, a heartening movement. Because I think a lot of us, we took the lockdown at face value. People like me, I mean, that meant that, you didn't have gigs for a few months, that sort of thing. But, we took it, so a lot of people like me in the early days, we didn't have much to lose, but we also took them at face value. And now as the savings start to dwindle and things like that, I think people are, it looked bigger. And I think, so that's what I'm saying. The lockdown, I think people would have said, okay, let's wait till all the facts come in. But, and there were some people that did it just to be contrarian. I felt it was important to just say, let's err on the side of they know what they're talking about, because I love you and, you love me, and then let's wash our hands and let's take them at face value. But then the questions started popping up left and right. And I think sometimes I'm coming to the conclusion that that we're the ones who actually care about humans, and I would probably even say health. Because I still, despite the fact that I don't have an Oxford degree, I still cannot see the health benefit of an 80-year-old man on a humid day covering up his nose and his mouth with the big clamshell. I still can't. Now, you've got the Oxford degree, so, maybe you've got the sophistry that I need, or the lack of morality to justify such a conclusion, but there you go. So that group seemed to me, from what little I've seen, that people are starting to ask, it's not like there was a smaller protest. Like, no, people are really kind of, it's like it did grow. It seems like it was a bigger amount of people that were starting to say, no masks, please. How is this? How can you do this? Who owns you, man? I'll close with my theory. This is just a theory. And I wouldn't call it conspiracy. This is just like if I was writing a novel. All I know is that we're not getting truth. And there are, we know Big Pharma's involved now. We know it. Big Pharma's involved right now. Nobody's questioning their morality. They're just 3 people. And why are they getting together? I think apparently, from what we're getting down here on the street, Donna, the word is they're doing it because they care about the human race. Just transfer that news over to the digital center. We're just receiving word right now that AstraZeneca is involved also because they care about the human race. Donna, let's go to you. How do you wear a face mask and not fog up your goggles? Good question. Lots of people asking that right now. Well, what I do is I don't wear my glasses anymore, and I bump into fucking everything I see. Yes, we can say fucking on the BBC right now because we control everything. It's been settled. We get your license fee forever. We can say fucking all day long, and we can talk about fucking and put out shows called 3 Sexy Roommates on a Beach and somebody is an ex and still call ourselves deserving of your fucking money. What madhouse alliterative. What here? No, I got to conclude. I got to call her back. 2 minutes. Okay. Let's just say the Chinese let out, either they let something out, and I'm not blaming the Chinese. I don't know, but this is just, we're writing a story here. The Chinese maybe let something out that was engineered, as some of these African speakers have been saying, engineered to cull maybe a certain portion of the population, but not be, necessarily the plague that they've been telling us it is. They let something out, or they faked it, or they did some fake data. They created a fake story or something. I don't know, but something was, something did emerge from China. Either a story or a real thing came out of China. And everybody shut down their economies and did all this Chinese-style shit, queuing for groceries, masks, social, a kind of a social code. It's a social code thing, the mask. It's not because you're healthy. It's because you have an obligation as a member of this single-cell organism, as a mere membrane in this single-cell organism, to be only a part of a community and not an individual with choice. So we all do that. We all follow lockstep. And then it slowly starts to come out, like they know at the top. This again, we're just writing a story here. They know at the top that this turned out not to be that big a deal. They did overreact. And they can't, the Chinese can't, they're not going to say that they did this because it's, they're hated enough, right? And everybody else, they can't fucking come clean either, because can you imagine if they finally come out and say, we looked at the data and we have really fucked up, and we'd like to apologize to anybody who lost a loved one, couldn't say goodbye to them, or has been missing the word of God from their Sunday services, or children. Sorry about the, did you get the free laptops? Good. Did you learn anything on you learned how to look up porn? Okay, good, right? What can they do? Can they come out and say that? No. They can only start doling out more power if we fucking let them. But then again, so I haven't really concluded my theory yet. So lately there's been some show, after all this fucking time, starting with David Cameron, after all this fucking time, the golden age of China relationships with the U.S., the golden age. This is a new age of Chinese relations with the U.K., the golden, after all this fucking time, knowing damn well what they're fucking up to out there with their surveillance state and their fucking Uyghur concentration camps and all this bullshit and the social code science fiction, every fucking thing else, knowing goddamn fucking well the snooping there, here, buying up all this shit, knowing all fucking well, all of a sudden now they're making a fucking song and dance about it. Because they might have cottoned on, okay, you just made us fuck up our economies. Well, take that, because neither side can come out and say this is a con job. China can't come out and say it, because they're the villains of the piece anyway, and everybody else can't say it because they majorly fucked up. So then now I think expect to see more of this. Like, and we told Huawei to pack it up and you skedaddle out of town, Buster Brown. That's what we told them. All right. Well, it did take quite a few years, but once those few years went by, we looked them square and we said, skedaddle. Rattling the saber now. When the deal is, we need the truth. We are the people who work and pay rent and have to buy food, right, in your new masked economy. We are the ordinary fucking people of the world. You need to fucking come clean. Have we been taken over or what? That's a good question. I'll leave you with that question, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. You've been watching Chat Days with Susan, and I hope you enjoy it. Meanwhile, patreon.com/Will Franken, and book 7 for the patrons. And I will respond to your correspondence in no less 4 days' time. 4 days' time, I need to finish this book 7. God bless you all, and good night.